Hi guys, so now that we've copied our data into SPSS, we want to first of all make sure that we know which variable is what. So we want to change the names of these. As you can see, SPSS automatically has named these var 1, 2, 3, and 4. So variable 1, 2, 3, and 4, but we obviously know that these are names, heights, foot sizes, and the sexes of people. So we need to change that so we know what's what, essentially. There's two different ways of doing that. You can either double click on one of these boxes here, and what SPSS will do is take you to the variable view window instead of the data view. Okay, so you can either do that or you can just click on the variable view yourself. So the first thing we want to do is, now that we have, you can see we have these 4 variables. Okay, so the layout has changed slightly, and now that we have each variable is a row, and then we have different properties of each variable here in the columns. Okay, so it's slightly different to the data view where we have subjects in a row and then different variables about the subjects in column. Okay, so basically this first one here is var1, which in our data view we know that's people's names. So the first thing we can do is change that so that we know this is actually not just var1. You can just highlight the whole thing, but this is people's names. Now in this field you can't use any spaces or special characters, so just use lower caps and just type one word. However, here in the label you can say something a bit more detailed. Okay, so this is subject's names, and you can use whichever characters you like here. The second one, if you remember, is the second variable that we have here, if you remember, is people's heights. Okay, that's this one here, that's var2. So we'll change this to height. And then here we can specify that this is body height in centimeters. Okay, the third one was people's foot sizes. So again, we changed this to foot, and then this is foot length, centimeters. And the last one was sex. Okay, and this is basically male or female. Now, if we go back to our data view now, we can see that SPSS has changed this at the top here. Now we know what each of these different variables is. The next thing we need to do is to tell SPSS what these different variables are. And if you remember, when we categorize types of data, we categorize them into categories or numbers. Okay, and that is essentially what SPSS means with the measure back here. Now it already knows that the name is a nominal variable because we've typed something here, and it's actually changed the type of the data to string. That means we can't do anything really with this. All it is a description of the subject's names. What we need to change here now is to make sure that SPSS knows that the height of people, which is in centimeters, is a number. And any number in SPSS, whether it is discrete or whether it's ratio or interval, is a scale variable. Okay, so we set this one to scale. The same goes for foot size. That is also a scale variable. Now the last one here, sex. When we actually entered the data, we did put 1s and 2s in here, but they're not actually the arithmetic 1 and 2. Okay, we wouldn't be able to calculate 1 plus 2, we would get 3, but that doesn't mean anything because 1 here stands for male and 2 stands for female. So all they are is variables that represent a quality. This is still a nominal variable, so we need to change that over here into nominal. Now what we need to do is tell SPSS that 1 means male and 2 means female. Okay, and the way we do that is in this column here, values, and we only do that for nominal variables which are typed in as a number. Okay, so it's still as numeric here because we've typed an actual number into the field, but we're telling SPSS that this isn't actually the number 1 and the number 2, but 1 actually stands for a type of category. And we always have to do that if we want to use nominal variables, for example, to make any comparisons with. Okay. So in the values, you click on this and then you get this little box here with 3 dots. You click on that. And then what you need to do is say the value 1, that's the number, means the label male. You go add, and then you say that the value 2 means the label female, and you add again. You now click OK, and if you go back to your data view now, SPSS has changed each of the 1s into male and each of the 2s into female. This button here lets you toggle between those 2 views. Okay, so now we've told SPSS, yes, this is a nominal variable, but we've entered it as a number so that SPSS can actually do something with it. It won't be able to do anything with this one here because all this is people's names. We don't technically need them if we know and we've noted down somewhere that subject number 1 was Tom. Okay. So now the next thing we want to do is to calculate some really simple descriptive statistics with this, and I will show you how to do that in the next video.